Nigeria continues to record low female representation in elective and appointive positions. Why do you think women remain underrepresented in politics?
I think it's just a stage that we have because every country is a product of their history and sociology, right? Um, and for example, if we went to a country like Rwanda, they have a lot of women in their parliament. Senegal too have been able to have that thing. Hopefully, it doesn't get reversed. Of course, women are more efficient than men in many respects. I think even in politics, they will do a better job than men. But like I said, every country is a product of their history and their sociology. Religion comes in, all sorts of things come in. People will come and say, I think over time what has happened is that men have been able to shove women aside because it's women that get pregnant, that raise children and all of that. But all of that is changing, whereas we still want to keep an eye on that. We want to have a productive society, a fertile society where people get married, man and woman, and have children and raise children, because any country that doesn't do that, that has switched to the other side, where people are not having, they're not getting married or not having children, that country is facing extinction. So I say that this is where we are now, but it doesn't mean that we'll remain there permanently. It will change, and when it will change dramatically, but we have to be very, very wise and careful so that we're not getting to a point where the men, in some societies abroad, we get squeezed and kind of dehumanized, that they stop playing the manly role in society. They just get boxed into a corner, frustrated, and all of that. So it's what it is. I think it will change in time. For now, because I studied American democracy and realized why we are where we are. Because, in 1978, when they had a constitutional conference in Nigeria, we decided to go and adopt the American democracy. And the reason why we did that was because in 1966, twice we had these very bloody coups where, the first one, we took out all our, leaders at that point in time. We were running a parliamentary system. The parliamentary system couldn't work in Nigeria at that time because we had very few graduates, and the few graduates we had were the people they pushed forward to go and represent us in government. So by the time all that argument that will happen in a parliamentary system started, we couldn't manage it. It went into a spiral, and we ended up having them killed in a coup and so on. But now I think we can actually, if people can toy with it, we can actually work with a hybrid, like they have in Ghana, where you have a popularly elected president, but he chooses his ministers from the parliament as well. So it's a blend of parliamentary and presidential. That's what I mean by every country is a product of the history of the country, and of course, of the constant interjection by the members of the country, the population, in saying that, look, we need to look at this, we need to look at that. So I wouldn't be surprised if one day we just see a sudden surge. Maybe by the day that some of the men, the middle-aged men, who are the ones that actually have the money and the time to go and do long, long meetings into the middle of the night, they are the ones that elbow everybody aside now. They elbow the women aside, they elbow the youth aside. Maybe we get to a point where they get tired of that business and then they decide to sponsor other people to go into politics. But there's nothing that has happened in Nigerian politics that hasn't happened in the countries that we borrowed it from. I wrote an article on that. I think I titled it "Before We Destroy Our Democracy" or something. So I did a very long article on the U.S. democracy. I saw all the foibles, the very expensive presidential system. I saw all the riggings that they have done and they still continue to do in some of those countries. There's nothing that's actually germane or novel in the way we practice our democracy. I think we'll get there.